Wait, ayan. Tapos po, lastly, before we start sa Q&A po, may mga ano po ba kayo gustong i-clarify o kaya tanong or i-request, gano'n?
Wala naman, wala.
Okey.
Madami lang talaga yung tanong niyo.
Ako nga, eh, sorry po. Mahaba talaga yung ano, eh, auditing na binigay sa'min. Guide
Sige, go
pala
lang.
siya, eh. Then ano din po, for assurance na rin, yung meeting po na 'to will be kept strictly confidential for academics use lang talaga. So, there's that. Tapos po, share screen ko na rin yung questions para makita niyo na lang din. Pero
Sige,
sasabihin
go.
din po nila Sheham. Si Shem unang unang magtatanong. Sheham, puwede mo na simulan.
Assalamualaikum po. Am I audible?
Yes, opo.
I'm Shaha Mamayo po, and I was assigned to ask questions with regards to your business governance and decision making po. So our first question is, who are the people involved in running and overseeing the business, and what are their roles?
Actually, yung Asron, it doesn't have a formal board of directors. So, yung business namin, it is mainly managed by our CEO, which is Kyrnisa Makmak, together with the president, ni Makmak. So, nag-work sila closely together when it comes to the overall management of the business and major decisions. We also have our secretary, which is me, Mina Makmak, who assists the administrative side of the business and documentation. We also have an accountant who is yung responsible naman for the financial and accounting matters. And we also have yung operation employees na nag-handle ng preparation, packaging, and supply of the products.
Okay po, for your second question, how does the business set, approve, and review its goals and plans?
So usually, CEO and the president, sila yung nagde-discuss kung ano ba yung gusto nilang i-achieve sa business. Whether yung plan is realistic based sa current situation. For example, if magpa-plan to introduce new products or mag-expand ng another location, kino-consider muna nila yung possible demand, cost, or available resources, and whether we can actually handle yung additional workload. Since they are both directly involved sa business, they can also see whether yung plan is nagwo-work ba or if something isn't going according to the plan. So, dinadiscuss nila yon kung ano ba yung need i-improve or kung ano yung need i-change pa.
Follow-up question lang po, no? With regards po sa planning, purely po ba siya na oral, or meron po kayong mga ginagawa na kunwari sa paper, yung mga documents po, ganun?
Purely oral kasi yung pagpa-plan kasi hindi siya yung agad-agad na hindi siya yung pina-plan talaga before. Like yung sa 'pag mag-a-additional na items, hindi naman nakikita agad yung items na ilalagay sa kultura. Kasi pumupunta pa sila sa other countries para tingnan yung mga items na available. So, yun.
Okay po, thank you. Third question is, what information or reports do you usually receive before making important decisions, and how do you know they are reliable and on time?
So it really depends sa decision na we're making. We usually look at yung sales, inventory, monthly liquidation reports, tapos financial information, at saka yung previous product performance. For example, kapag nagde-decide to restock a certain product, we can look at how well kung how well the product has been selling. For financial matters naman, kinoconsult minsan si accountant. Tapos naka-receive din kami ng official information and updates through the systems and communication channels na ginagamit with Kultura.
Follow-up question lang din po ulit. With regards po sa mga deadlines, open po ba kayo sa deadlines or like may specific deadlines po kayo na mini-meet?
May specific deadlines na mini-meet naman.
May another follow-up question lang din po ako, no? With regards po sa mga documents such as yung mga reports, pwede po ba namin siyang makita if papayagan ninyo? Like, masend lang po sa amin for confirmation.
Pwede naman yung sample documents na available sa amin. Like ba yung monthly liquidation reports or inventory related records ba?
Opo, with regards to both of that po. Pwede nyo naman po
Pwede
i-send
naman
anytime.
siyang yeah, pwede naman. As long as they are used only for academic study and confidential information.
Okay po, thank you. First question na po is, how does the business monitor management and employees to make sure that the approved plans, decisions, and policies are being properly implemented? And how are problems, disagreements, or poor performance identified and addressed?
Since we're not a very large corporate organization nga, yung monitoring is more direct. We can actually see how the work is being carried out and whether yung employees are complementing what has been assigned to them. Kapag may na-notice kasi na something isn't being done properly or may delay, kinakausap sila directly kung anong nangyari and on. Then from there, we decide what needs to be corrected or yung kung anong need i-improved.
So, bale po, hands-on po kayo sa pagtitingin po ng mga workloads nila po, no? So, you don't use po like, kunwari, Google Sheets para po makita or may mga trackers po kayo?
Wala, hands-on lang talaga. Wala kaming anything na ganyan.
Okay po. Fifth question po is, what are the major risks or problems that the business face, and how are these identified, communicated, monitored, and addressed, if any?
So yung one of the main challenges is yung customer preferences, which is nag-change kasi yon very quickly, especially because nasa fashion accessories industry kami. Sometimes you introduce a product thinking it will sell well, but customers may respond differently. So competition is also something we have to consider since sa kultura there are a lot of companies na nagsisell talaga doon ng pearls. Another challenge for us is yung manpower, particularly sa home-based operation because only a small number of people handle a lot of the operational workload. So these are the things that we continuously observe as nagre-run yung business.
Okay po. Sixth question naman po is, what policies, rules, guidelines, or governance documents does the business have, and how are they created, approved, reviewed, and made available to the people responsible for governing the business?
We have the usual documents needed to legally and properly operate yung business, such as yung business permits, BIR documents, financial records, and yung other regulatory requirements. Internally, we also have yung workplace guidelines and procedures that the employees are expected to follow. Although not everything is written in one formal company manual because yung some of our procedures have developed through actual experience over the years. So nagpa-follow din kami ng requirements and yung guidelines that apply to us as a kultura consignor.
Pwede po ba kami mag-request na makita din po yung business permit if possible?
Yeah, pwede naman. Pwede naman, go lang.
Okay po. Seventh question is, how are the business's policies and decisions communicated throughout the organization, and how do you check whether they are actually followed consistently in practice?
So we usually communicate them directly sa people concerned since home-based operation nga namin is very small lang. It's very easier for us to explain changes or kung may new instructions personally. We also encourage yung employees namin to ask question if may hindi sila naiintindihan or yun nga isn't clear. Tapos if may ma-encounter sila na problem while following yung certain procedure, they can raise it with us so we can determine kung something kung yung problem ba yon it needs clarification or kailangan ba namin i-adjust something on us.
So, clarify ko lang po, no, bale po, when it comes po sa checking ng mga ginagawa nila, by, like, nakikita niyo po talaga siya in person. So, hindi po siya yung parang natatrack po, no?
Yeah, nakikita namin siya in person kasi ano lang naman ni jewelries lang talaga siya, yung mga ginagawa lang na bracelets and everything.
Okay po. May follow-up question lang din po ako. Can employees or the people directly involved in operations provide input when policies are being developed or changed po? Di ba nga po, sabi niyo po parang nag-change po kayo ng policy depending sa mga ginagawa nila. How do they give out yung mga gusto po nilang gawin sa business ninyo?
Ano, sorry.
Yung mga employees niyo po, 'di ba po, they create their own policies by their experiences po, sabi niyo po. So, how do they present their parang policies or yung mga skills nila na ginagamit sa business ninyo?
Siguro kapag, sa 'pag may ginagawa sila, like wait lang. Wait lang, ha.
Okay lang po, ate. Okay lang naman po if hindi nyo masasagot as of right now. We can move on to a different question.
Okay, sige, go.
So the ninth question is, how is the performance of the people responsible for governing and managing the business evaluated? And how do you ensure that they have the appropriate skills, experience, training, and orientation needed for their roles?
So, we don't really have yung formal board meetings because as mentioned nga, yung Asron, it doesn't really have yung board of directors. So, yung CEO at president lang talaga yung nagdi-discuss ng business matters whenever necessary. So, kapag, example, kapag may mga important decision regarding yung suppliers, finances, inventory, or expansion, they'll discuss it before making final decision. So it's more of a regular business discussion lang with the both of them rather than yung scheduled na formal board meeting.
Okay po. The 10th question is, what is the roles of the accountant in playing to oversee the business po, and how are their findings, opinions, and recommendations reported to the people of kunwari yung CEO nyo po sa business?
Wait lang, ano, sorry. Anong number na?
Number 10 na po. Repeat ko na lang po
Okay.
yung
So yung,
question.
sige. Sige, go.
What role of the accountant play in the overseeing of the business, and paano nyo po nagagamit yung findings nila?
So yung accountant kasi, siya yung very important talaga dun sa in maintaining yung and reviewing yung company's financial records. Since siya yung nag-handle ng bookkeeping, financial reporting, tax-related requirements, and yung other accounting responsibility. So, and yung other accounting responsibility naman separately from the company's general operation. So kapag may na-identify siya na discrepancy or financial concern, kino-communicate niya yon sa CEO or sa president kung sino man yung present sa both of that person. So yung issue na yon, it can be reviewed and appropriate action can be taken. However, major operational and yung business decision remain the responsibility of the management.
Okay po. So my last question is number 11. How are the costs and expenses related to the board or other governing activities identified, monitored, and reviewed?
So ayun nga, since as I mentioned kanina lang na it doesn't yung Astron, it doesn't really have the formal board of directors. We do not have yung separate board related expenses. So yung expenses na yon, it is associated with managing and operating the business. They are recorded as part of the company's regular operating expenses and na-handle sila through our normal accounting process lang.
Uh, Clarification lang po, you guys don't have any parang other expenses. For example po, yung ang tawag dito, parang yung kunwari yung lunch po ng mga employees nyo or lunch po ng mga CEOs, hiwalay na po siya, no? Hindi na po siya kasama doon sa business. Like
Yeah,
sa
hiwalay
expense po
siya.
ng...
Opo,
Okay po,
hindi
thank
hindi
you po.
siya kasama sa business since a home-based operation nga siya. So hiwalay yung sa business and kung saan sila sa bahay.
Okay po, thank you for answering my questions. Lilipat ko na po yung floor sa group ng 1403. Thank you.
Okay, go.
Thank you po ulit Ate Mina sa pagsagot for SAPG 1402. Then, Ana tas Denise, pwedeng kayo nang salita for the questions related to SAPG 1403. Thank you.
Good evening po. Audible naman po ba?
Naririnig ka naman.
Okay, thank you. So, good evening po. My name is Ana de la Cruz and together I'm with Denise Jane Benosa to ask po for a few questions about how Asron manages its relationship with stakeholders like yung kultura, suppliers, and your team po. And as well as how you handle transparency and reputation as a company. So since Astron doesn't have a board or outside investors, some questions might not fully apply and that's completely fine po. Just answer na lang po based on how things actually work for you. So to start po, for question number 1, who would you say matters most to Astron's business aside from Kultura? How do you generally manage those relationship day to day?
So, aside from kultura, our important yung stakeholders include yung customers, suppliers, employees, and yung government agencies responsible for business and tax compliance. So, sa suppliers kasi, particularly important sila kasi they help us maintain yung materials and products needed for our collections. And yung CEO and president naman personally maintain communication sa suppliers since they also travel to different countries when necessary to source yung pearls, jewelry, and yung other materials. And yung customers naman, they are equally important since yung preference nila and yung purchasing behavior nag influence siya sa products na ino-offer namin.
Okay, thank you po. For the second question, when something important happens, good or bad, like strong sales mga or delay or quality issue, how does that information get shared or with who? Is there a usual process po ba or it depends on the situation?
Actually, it depends kung ano yung nature of the situation. Since yung operational issues nga, they're immediately communicated sa CEO or sa president so that they can determine kung ano ba yung need gawin. If yung matter naman, it involves kultura such as deliveries, store requirements, or other consignment-related concern, communication is usually made through the appropriate kultura channels such as yung email and yung online systems. Yung financial matters naman, they're communicated sa accountant kapag necessary lang. So yung goal dito is ma-ensure lang na yung people affected sa situation will receive the information as soon as possible.
Alright, thank you po. For the third question, could you walk us through what happened with your monthly reports and reconciliations? Who prepares them and who reviews them? And are they mainly to satisfy Kultura's requirement or do you also use them for yourself to make decisions sa ASRON?
Sorry, anong number na? Number 3 ba?
Yes po.
Okay. So yung monthly liquidation reports from different Kultura stores are used together para sa company's internal records para ma-monitor yung sales and yung product movement. Since yung report nga are useful not only for documentation but also para ma-understand kung paano nag-work kung paano yung performance ng product across sa different locations. Since meron nga kaming mga branches um, sa mga province, possible na hindi mag-work yung mga items din doon. So yung management naman, it can use the information to identify naman yung products that are performing well, determine which items may need replenishment, and support inventory-related decision. And yung accountant naman, they also uses the relevant financial records in maintaining yung company's accountants and preparing financial informations.
Thank you po. For the fourth question, since ASRON doesn't have a formal board of directors, who do you usually turn to when you need advice or second opinion on big decisions po? Is there anyone, even informally po, whose input you rely on?
Major decisions are usually na dinidiscuss lang talaga siya between CEO and president since they jointly manage the business. So kapag nagkakaroon ng decision involve yung area that requires specialized knowledge, nagsisik sila ng advice from appropriate person such as yung sa accountant. Yung accountant may provide input regarding financial or yung mga tax-related matters. And then sa kultura naman, pwede silang mag-consult kapag yung problem naman, it involves consignment requirements or yung mga retail operations.
Hello po, good evening. Am I audible po?
Opo, audible ka po.
So for our fifth question po, do you feel that Astron's reputation for being reliable and well documented has actually helped the business? For example, in your relationship with Cultura or with suppliers and customers?
Yes, kasi yung pagme-maintain ng proper documentation and yung consistently complying sa requirements, very important siya, especially because yung Asron nga, it operates as a kultura consignor. So being organized and responsive, it helps us maintain yung professional working relationship with kultura. It also helps us with the relationship sa mga suppliers and other parties, because it demonstrates that the company takes its responsibilities and yung business transactions seriously.
Thank you po. So for our sixth question po, are there any standards or best practices you try to follow even ones that Kultura doesn't strictly require of you?
I think yes. Aside from complying with Kultura's requirements nga, mini-maintain din namin yung sarili na yung own standards namin regarding sa product quality, proper handling ng inventory, and yung accurate record keeping. Tapos yung professionalism din namin and yung responsible communication din sa customers and suppliers. Since we believe na these practices are important even when they are not specifically required because they help us maintain yung consistency and protect the reputation ng business namin.
Follow-up question lang po. Is there any written guidelines from Kultura, like their consignor standards or accreditation requirements that we could take a look at, even just a summary or excerpt po? Kung pwede lang po.
I think meron. We'll check yung portal nila if meron and then I'll try na isend sa inyo.
Sige po. Thank you po. So for our seventh question po, looking at how the business is governed and documented today, is there anything you already know you'd like to improve even if you haven't gotten around to it yet?
So yung one area na we could improve is yung formal documentation of our internal procedures, since many of our process have already been established through years of experience and understood by the people directly involved sa operations nga namin, but not all of them kasi are documented in a formal manual. So I think yung more formally documented procedures will help us improve yung consistency and make responsibilities clearer and make it easier to train additional employees as the business expands.
Thank you po. So for our last question po, just to confirm from earlier, aside from Kultura's platform, is there anywhere else someone could go to learn more about Asron as a company, like social media or printed materials?
Sorry, ano ulit?
To confirm po from earlier, aside from Kultura's platform, is there anywhere else someone could go to learn more about Asron as a company, like social media or printed materials po?
Actually, we don't have that yet. Yung any other social media, but we do have pwedeng mag-visit sa mismong Kultura stores and or Kultura na website, tapos search for the Astron there kasi as of now yun yung tinatry namin i-improve yung marketing din ng Astron sa Kultura and sa other social media platforms.
Okay po. Thank you so much po, Ma'am Mina. That's all the question you have for this section. We really appreciate you walking us through this po.
Um, thank you din po ulit Ate Mina, then thank you Ana, then Denise. Then magpo-proceed na po tayo sa last SAPG question for today, which is SAPG 1404, which will be asked by Kyle Christian Yu po. Kyle, you may talk now.
Hello. Hello po. Uh, uh, at this part, the risk management processes, we will be talking about the risks po. How do you po and your team set goals or make important decisions? And how would you identify these potential risks or issues that could affect those plans?
So we normally consider yung both the possible benefits and the possible problems before kami mag-commit to an important decisions. So we look at whether yung company it has sufficient resources, whether there is likely to be customer demand, or what the possible financial impact may be, and whether there are other external requirements that could affect implementation. So yung previous experience kasi is also important because situations we have encountered in the past help us recognize yung mga potential problems before making similar decisions.
Follow-up question po. How would you keep remember how would you and your team po remember or keep in touch with how would you remember po these risks and problems if like let's say it's been 3 months now walang problems, how would you and your team keep yourselves vigilant to remembering and being cautious to keep avoiding to avoid the risk and problems?
So we keep in touch regarding sa potential problems through regular communication within the team. So yung employees, they are encouraged to immediately raise concerns or issues na manonotice nila during daily operations to their supervisor or sa management. Dinidiscuss din namin this concern during pag magkakasama na, especially kapag yung problems na to, it affect yung sales or yung inventory, tapos customers or yung mga business decision. So this allows us na ma-address problems early and decide together sa kung ano yung magiging appropriate action.
Thank you po for answering the following question po. Second question is, what are the main risks you currently worry about in running the arson po? And how do you normally identify new or unexpected risks?
So yung one of the risk we pay close attention talaga is yung inventory risk, since yung customer preferences and yung fashion trends nagche-change sila. So there are possibility na yung certain products will move more slowly than expected. And kinikonsider din talaga namin yung competition, supply related issues, and yung current manpower limitations. And yung new concerns naman usually become apparent lang siya through changes sa sales, feedback, tapos delays and discrepancy or other unusual situations that can occur during normal business activities.
Thank you po for explaining how to identify it. And speaking of identifying it, third question is how do you assess it with seriousness and determination of what needs to be done? Can you give us another example of a recent risk you had to deal with, you and your team had to deal with po?
So we mainly consider yung mga possible impact of the risk and how difficult it would be for the business to recover if it occurred. For example, kapag mag-introduce kami ng new jewelry design, purchasing too much inventory immediately could result sa excess stock if customers do not respond well to the product. And to reduce that risk, we can introduce a more manageable quantity first muna and observe if yung customer response before committing sa larger amount of the items.
I see. So when assessing and determining these risks, how my first question is how do you decide which risks you're willing to accept and which ones need to be addressed immediately? Is there a particular level of risk that you consider unacceptable for the business?
So some risks are a normal part of doing business, particularly kapag nag-introduce nga kami ng new products or nagtatry kami ng new opportunities. We are willing to accept risk when the possible loss is manageable naman and the opportunity has a reasonable potential. However naman, anything that could result in significant financial loss legal or regulatory problem, serious quality concern naman, or any damage to an important business relationship would receive much greater attention naman and would need to be addressed promptly.
So risks being accepted and uh, which one is unacceptable. So when a risk has been identified, who is responsible for making sure something is done about it, accountable to it? All right. And how do you follow up to make sure the response to the risk is actually working?
Okay, so may mga responsibility naman kami each. So, responsibility is assigned according sa type of problem. So, the person or area most directly connected to the issue would normally help address it, while significant concerns are brought to management naman. So, after i-action yon, ino-observe namin whether yung issue na yon it continues or whether yung situation na yon nag-improve ba. If the first response is not effective, another solution naman may be considered.
When risks are being identified, how do you keep track of these risks? Example, through a risk register, regular discussion reports, or is there a more specific method that you use, Paul?
Okay, so we currently do not maintain a formal risk register, though yung risk monitoring is more practical and integrated into our normal business activities. So ina-identify namin concerns through information we already use in the managing the business, such as yung mga financial records, sales performance, inventory movement, employee observations, and yung supplier concerns and any other operational information. So yung significant issues naman are then discussed when they require management's attention.
So when discussing these issues and risks, how does that information of that risk or problem reach to you or other people responsible for making those decisions? Does the information flow the other way when management identifies concern before the staff does? For example, yeah.
Sorry, ano po ulit?
Uh, s- uh, when risk has been registered or notified, how does the operation notice the risk, and how does it uh, reach to you and your team to make these responsible decisions to attending these risks?
Okay, so yung business nga namin is a relatively small home base lang siya. So yung team makes direct communication possible. If someone notices an unusual situation or yung potential problem, they can immediately bring it to the attention of management rather than going through several levels of reporting. So yung communication namin, it also works in the opposite direction. When management identifies an issue that employees need to be aware of, the relevant people are informed so that they can adjust their work accordingly.
So when attending to these risks, what happens if something unexpected exposes that risk in the business that hadn't been anticipated? How would you respond to it afterwards, Paul?
So, yung first priority namin is to understand kung ano yung situation and prevent it from causing further disruption. So, once na yung immediate concern namin has been addressed, we look at what caused it and whether anything could have been done differently. So, gagamit kami we then use that experience when dealing with similar situations sa future. Even when there is no formal written risk procedure naman for every possible situation, yung previous experiences namin, it helps us improve the way we respond.
So when attending to these risks, what kind of risk information or updates are shared the management, uh, staff and other key decision makers, and how do you receive them po?
So, not all information is reported on the same schedule. Routine information namin can be reviewed during normal operations lang, while yung urgent concerns are communicated as soon as they are identified. Yung management, it is particularly informed about matters that could significantly affect yung sales, finances, inventory, and yung mga product availability, suppliers then, at saka yung mga employees or the company's ability to meet its business obligations.
When there are these risks happening, what role does the internal audit or anyone performing an internal revenue review function play in the risk management? Mainly checking and advising, or are they do they have a small, or are they involved in the risk making decisions? Well,
Since yung Astron, yung a business namin, it doesn't have yung separate internal audit department nga. Instead, different areas of the business provide their own forms of reviews. For example, yung si accountant, the accountant independently handles and reviews financial records, while yung management naman, it monitors yung operational activities and company records. So if a significant concern is identified, the relevant information is brought to the management's attention. Then yung final responsibility for deciding how major business risks should be handled remains with the company's leadership.
so when these risks happen, what's one area you think the process could be improved, or where a risk might not be getting enough attention to?
So one area we could improve actually is yung formalizing yung risk, how risk are documented and monitored, since yung approach nga namin ngayon, it relies significantly lang sa experience, then direct communication, and sa observations lang namin. Siguro yung more structured system will allow us to record major risk and what actions have already been taken, who is responsible for them, and whether yung issue na yun has been resolved. So, kasi this would become increasingly useful as the business grows and more people become involved in its operations.
Thank you po, for answering the risk questions. And when you do your uh, attend to the risks, I uh, uh, you win.
I think okay na po lahat, no? And thank you so much po, Ate Mina, for answering all the SAPG for tonight. And thank you din, Kyle, and to the other members attending for tonight's interview po. And ano, Ate Mina, reiterate ko lang po pala na meron pa pong second interview after nito. Kasi medyo late na rin po, kaya hinati namin na siya ng first batch, the second batch.
Sige guys, para pumasa kayo.
Salamat po.
Thank you,
Maraming
guys.
salamat talaga. Tapos po ano, chat nyo na lang din sa akin yung preferred or available time nyo tomorrow.
Sige,
Tas
sorry if
ano,
hindi ako masyadong makasagot today. Hindi ko na ready yung sasagot ko.
okey lang
So
po.
sorry
Late na rin
guys.
kasi namin na-send yung questionnaires. Tas kung may follow-up po kaming questions pa, kasi since ata pa lang po kasi draft, tas papa-check pa po namin siya sa prof. So, after po namin ipa-check yung draft, expect po ulit na we're gonna reach out to you ulit.
Sige,
Ay,
go lang. Good luck guys.
okey po. Sige po. Thank you po. That's all for tonight.
Sige,
Thank you,
thank you.
guys. Hello, guys. Hello, hello. Okay, so tapos na yung meeting. Pag-usapan nga puwedeng pag-usapan din natin since pinag-uusapan namin kanina ni Lay. Paano yung ano, wait lang, stop ko record.